Good evening. My name is Jerry Hosey, and this is discussion post number 3 for HIUS512 American Revolution at Liberty University. My topic tonight is public history and American memory, and I will be discussing the Bunker Hill Monument and Museum in Charlestown, Massachusetts. My research for the academic paper we're doing this semester seems to keep me grounded in the Boston area in the mid 1770s. While I'll discuss more on that next week, I say it does make it fitting that I'm discussing the Bunker Hill Monument and Museum. The Battle of Bunker Hill took place on June 17th, 1775, outside of Boston, where the Americans were making fortifications in the hills surrounding the city after learning the British were making efforts to capture them to have greater control over Boston Harbor. Perhaps the most important distinction here is the fact that the majority of the battle took place on Breed's Hill, not Bunker Hill, but the name is Battle of Bunker Hill. The battle is, I think, one of the most important in the war, mainly because it was the first battle in my mind where both sides knew the other were actually fighting. Lexington and Concord, the British didn't really know the militias were waiting for them. Ticonderoga, really was the same thing. The Americans took the British off guard, so they took the fort at Ticonderoga. But at Bunker Hill, both sides knew the other were there looking for a fight, and it really was the first battle where both sides were really even. Historian Charles Francis Adams, who's the great grandson of President John Adams, has stated the Battle of Bunker Hill was one of the most singular examples on record of what might be called the balancing of blunders between opposing sides. And what he meant by that is that if it weren't for the catastrophic blundering of British commanders during the battle, the Americans would surely have been destroyed. I mean, it took 3 sieges by the British to finally overtake the hill. And, the first 2, they were knocked back by the Americans, and it gave the Americans a lot of momentum heading into 1776, where they surely would lose it. The Bunker Hill Monument was completed in 1843. It took 18 years to complete. It is 221 feet tall, and it takes 294 steps to reach the top of it. It's an obelisk, which is similar to the Washington Monument. It's basically a big monument, I guess. It's a big spiral monument that goes up 221 feet. So it was renovated back in 2007. Also, another important fact is that it actually was the largest of its scale until the Washington Monument was built. So like I said, in 2007, it was renovated. It is accompanied by the Bunker Hill Museum, which has artifacts of the battle. It's free of charge to visitors. A great visit if you can visit it. The Bunker Hill Monument Association were responsible for maintaining the monument and museum until 1919, when it was turned over to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In 1976, it was turned over to the National Park Service, who has operated it ever since, including the renovation in 2007. It is part of the Boston National Historical Park. The meaning and importance of the monument and the location itself has been a topic of debate over the years. Congressman Daniel Webster would speak at the ceremony commemorating the opening of the monument in 1843. He would say that the monument spoke to those that were there, and that its speech would be, quote, of patriotism and courage, of civil and religious liberty, of free government, of the moral improvement and elevation of mankind, and of the immortal memory of those who, with heroic devotion, have sacrificed their lives for their country. However, the monument took on a different meaning in 1998. Krzysztof Wodiczko, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, projected videotape on the monument. He had a big projection of it on the monument to bring attention to rising murder rates in Charlestown, to actually advocate for those who had lost loved ones due to rising crime. Sarah Purcell wrote in the Public Historian that the monument, which had been seen as a beacon of freedom, like Daniel Webster had said it would, was used in a way that made people question the meaning of freedom in Charlestown over modern social issues. So kind of was juxtaposition there, where it was freedom, then it was the question of freedom. It was kind of different there. The monument, though, as can be seen with 2 vantage points, I think the case to be made, though, that was still a very important symbol in Charlestown and the Boston area and the United States as well. Field trips to the monument and museum would definitely serve a valuable purpose in future teaching opportunities. Seeing the artifacts from the battle itself and walking up the monument to see the entire landscape of the battle would be a fantastic visual teaching tool. I certainly recommend it. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and look forward to seeing you next week.